The story of Thach San and Li Thong. Long ago, there lived a young boy named Thach San. He worked hard alongside his parents, harvesting rice in the fields and chopping wood in the forest. Despite all of their hard work, the family remained very poor. Then, when Thach San was in his teens, his parents passed away. After selling his home and household goods to pay for his parents' funeral, Thach San's only possession was his father's mighty axe with a blade that never dulled. He spent his days gathering wood and his nights sleeping under a large banyan tree. One evening, a merchant named Li Thong was traveling through the forest and saw Thach San returning to the banyan tree. "Hello, young man. Do you live in the forest?" asked Li Thong as he surveyed the young man dressed in tattered clothes. "Yes, my name is Thach San. I have been living in the forest and selling wood in the market since my parents passed away," Thach San replied. "My name is Li Thong and I am a merchant," Li Thong said. "I live with my elderly mother and we need extra help. You can live with us in exchange for food and shelter. We can be like brothers." Thach San happily and gratefully agreed. For months Thach San worked hard helping Li Thong and his elderly mother. Everything seemed perfect until a monster began to attack the village's local temple. The giant beast would come each night to break down walls and smash the statues. The king was deeply vexed by all the destruction and declared that whoever could slay the beast would have a great reward. Until the beast could be destroyed, the villagers took turns guarding the temple each night. Eventually Li Thong's turn came, but he was a cowardly man and he asked Thach San to go in his place. Thach San had heard nothing about the monster as he spent his days away at work in the forest. Li Thong did not want to frighten him away from the task, so he didn't speak of the monster. Instead, he told Li Thong that the temple needed to be protected against thieves. That evening Thach San headed to the temple with his mighty axe. As he sat outside the temple door he saw a great monster come out of the shadow. The monster was tremendously tall and had 2 large horns on its head. Without hesitating, Thach San swung his mighty axe. The defeated monster toppled to the ground. Thach San quickly ran home to tell Li Thong what happened. Li Thong was a man who always dreamed of fame and fortune, and when he heard what had happened, he wanted to take credit. "Thach San, my brother. That is the king's beast who guards the temple. When he hears you have killed it, he will punish you. Let me go talk to the king and ask for forgiveness. In the meantime, hide yourself. I will let you know when all is well," Li Thong promised. "Thank you, brother," Thach San replied, not knowing he had been tricked. Thach San went back to the banyan tree to hide while Li Thong went to the king claiming he had defeated the beast. The king was grateful and rewarded Li Thong with many riches and with soldiers to command. For weeks, Thach San waited patiently in the woods. One morning, he saw a giant eagle flying overhead with a young woman screaming for help in its claws. Thach San started to follow the eagle's path. What Thach San did not know was the young woman was the princess, who had been kidnapped by the eagle. The king had sent all of the men of the village into the forest to rescue her. Whoever was successful would receive her hand in marriage. Li Thong was the fastest of the men, and as he was running he ran into Thach San. "Brother! It is so good to see you. Is the king still angry? Did you see the eagle flying overhead with the woman? I was going to follow it and try to save her," Thach San said. Li Thong was already scheming and said, "Yes, brother. I will tell you all about it later. But let's not waste time now. Let's hurry to rescue the princess." The 2 men followed the eagle into a dark cave. As they ventured deep into the cave they spotted the princess. The eagle was guarding her. Thach San quickly attacked the bird. As Thach Sanh was bravely fighting the eagle, Li Thung grabbed the princess and made his way to the exit. The princess was so frightened that she lost her ability to speak. As they left the cave, the devious Li Thung called his soldiers to roll a boulder over entrance, saying that it was to trap the eagle, but it really was to trap Thach Sanh. After a long fight, Thach Sanh defeated the eagle. But it wasn't long before he realized that the entrance was blocked and he had no way out. For hours Thach Sanh navigated the dark caves. Following the sound of a voice moaning in the dark, he found a young man tied up in a corner of the cave. "Please help me," the man begged. "I am the prince of the sea and the evil eagle kidnapped me." Thach Sanh freed the prince and, with his help, pushed at the boulder that kept them captive in the cave. At last, after much pushing, they were free. "Thank you for your kindness. Please accept this token of my gratitude," the prince said as he handed Thach Sanh a small wooden flute. Thach Sanh thanked his new friend and made his way back to the palace. Meanwhile, at the palace, the king was overjoyed that his daughter has been rescued, but he was puzzled by her inability to speak. "Li Thung, you saved my daughter. As I promised, she will be your wife. But first you must find a doctor to help her regain her voice. Then I can give you your wedding," the king said. As Li Thong left the palace, he saw Thach Sanh approaching and was afraid the truth would come out. "Guards, arrest this man. He helped the eagle kidnap the princess," Li Thong cried. Thach Sanh was heartbroken by Li Thong's accusation and had no energy to resist the guards. As he sat in his jail cell, he started to play a sad tune on his flute. Upon hearing the sweet, mournful notes, the princess began to weep. "Bring me the musician," she pleaded. "I must see him." The king was elated to hear her speak and ordered that Thach Sanh be brought to him. "This is the man who truly saved me. Li Thong is a fake," the princess cried, and she told her father the whole story. "Thach Sanh, thank you for your bravery. You are truly a noble man and I would be honored if you will marry my daughter," the king said. "Li Thong, you are a scoundrel. I banish you from the kingdom." Thach Sanh and the princess were married that day, and lived a long and happy life together.